Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Desert Underground podcast. I've got Brian making jokes over here to my left. How you doing today, Brian?
I'm doing pretty good, Dane. It's good to be back.
Fantastic. I'm glad you're here, man.
No, thanks.
And the paper says Ollie from 6 Feet Over, lead singer of 6 Feet Over.
Yeah, no, not a lot of people know me, but I'm here. So yeah, freaking great to be here, man.
How you doing today, Ollie?
I'm so glad you were firing this podcast back up again, man. It was something inside of me died when I heard you weren't going to do it anymore. So I'm glad you're doing it again, man.
Yeah. Our main financier, Brian, was tired of it, and Brian Core.
What are you even talking about?
Shit. No, actually, it turns out we did not have a sponsor. That's what it was. Now I remember. We didn't have a sponsor, and we were doing a lot of trips out of town, and
Oh yeah.
it got to be a little cumbersome, and I don't know.
Well, I think part of it is it's hard to do something that has to be so regimented as far as scheduling. When the situation is we're basically locked to the studio here.
Yeah.
But now we're this year in the new incarnation, we're fairly mobile. We can take this in the middle of the desert if we need to. So
Yeah,
that's a plus.
which is a thought because you get way more reverb when you're out, or way less
Right.
way less reverb when you're
Right.
out there. Oh, we could do it inside a cave. That'd be cool.
Right.
Hell yeah.
Oh, spider cave.
It's great. It's great to have you back, Dave. We did those episodes last year, and I think for me and Dane, they were some of our favorites.
Oh, it's just
good conversation. So
just get Ole wrecked, and it's bound to be a good time.
And that's all of your life, right? That's not just here.
No, that's especially then. During that time of our life, we lived in a really nice, quiet era for the last 60, 70 years, and basically all reality changed this last year, and mainly because we allowed it, partially because we needed it, but all in all, I think it's very good to be retrospective, and it allowed to open up certain things like this, platforms like this, basically give people a whole bunch of time to think about, what am I doing? Am I just sitting here drinking beer, getting drunk, feeling sorry for myself, or what am I doing?
well, again, I mean, I feel like things changed on such a large scale in just so many different ways this last year with the pandemic and with the way people are treating each other and people dealing with all the crisis and a whole new way of life that just came out of nowhere. I mean, we went from, March, we were just all doing our thing, to suddenly we're all living in a bubble for 9 months, and we're trying to still figure out what the hell.
Yeah, I think as Americans, we found out that we're not as free as we thought we were, and I think the rest of the world. I feel bad for places like the European Union and the some of those people that are locked down really bad,
Yeah.
because what are they thinking about? If they know their history, what are they thinking comes next? You when you start seeing, when you lock people down for long enough, you're going to get upheaval from just sheer frustration, not simply for what we're seeing around here with people being like, you can't, my rights and all this kind of stuff, and the South, all the old things now have a time to come back up again, and it's scary. One, because there's so many more people in the world now. So when you talk about if something happens, like, there's more pink squishy bodies to be squished than ever before. There's 7 billion people in the world, and if there's ever an upheaval or if stuff starts getting really bad in
I
the
don't
whole
know,
world,
Dave. That sounded kind of racist. Why do they have to be pink squishy bodies?
on the inside,
Oh,
Everybody's
on the
pink
inside.
everyone's
Okay, we're all
pink
different.
squishy on the inside.
Okay.
I've seen a few lungs that were not healthy pink,
Yeah, right.
but
Yeah,
And-
those are probably mine.
and that's one of the other things is, shoot, normally what I found out about myself in this, and that's really some introspective type stuff. It should have been off vibrate. Is I've never really dealt with depression. I've never had depression. I've always knew that there was something kind of lurking around my mental corner, especially during the Christmas time, holidays. When I was a junior in high school, my grandmother died in a car accident 2 days before Christmas, and that really affected me really hard as a kid in high school. But then right after that, I took the ASVAB, and my future was set. So I was excited about my future and going in the Navy and doing my thing. And I didn't have enough time to sit around and feel sorry or bad or do anything like that. I think we had 6 or 7 weeks off of work, and it gives you time to think. And
Are you talking about during the pandemic thing?
Yeah, it gives you time to think and drink, and those two things can be inspirational, but those two things can also be detrimental. And I think that's what happened to me when I say depression had always been lurking around the corner but never showed its face. I knew I had to keep myself doing something or keep on doing stuff. That's why I joined a band when I got back from Afghanistan. That's why I kept myself busy. This year, it came around the corner, punched me in the face, and flipped me off. And I was been dealing with it pretty hard.
That's one of those things that I definitely have dealt with for a very, very long time. And I read a fortune cookie or something one time that kind of explained it to me. And it said, be careful or something, because everyone's fighting their battles too. And I was like, oh shit. Yeah.
Oh, those other people.
Oh shit. Because I thought about everybody is the hero of their own story, right?
Right.
So when you have depression, you have it more than everybody.
Right.
It's in context to yourself. You're like, oh man, mine's fucking horrible. And it affects you the same way, regardless of how, one guy's dealing with, I may never walk again because both my legs got blown off. And you're just like, and then maybe you're just like, oh man, my girlfriend dumped me. So even though they're in one way phenomenally different, they affect you that same way. I had to go through sensitivity training once because they taught me all kinds of fun stuff. But no, it made me kind of like be a little bit more receptive to like everyone's fighting their own battle kind of thing, and that just because yours was different than others, it's kind of like when I tried talking to a Vietnam War guy, and he's like, "We were in the shit, and the Agent Orange, and I can't function anymore." And you pussies didn't have it bad at all. And I was like, I sat in a truck for a year. Hey, but everybody got their emails.
Right.
So, but yeah, like I was still technically at war. I was in a war zone. So it was like, it's that weird like juxtaposition of like, by the way, going to the VA is fun.
Well, wait a second. So
when everybody's
before you drift too much, do you guys do you both feel like you dealt with the depression thing during this lockdown time, this COVID thing?
Definitely.
Yeah,
I definitely did. Because you've known me for 5 years now. I'm the party guy. I love to go out and do stuff and be the life of the party and be loud and give everyone hugs and everything about everything that I am or thought I was basically taken away in the 6 feet. We're alone together. Blah, 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 blah. I'm not an introvert.
Right.
That might be real sexy for someone who sits on the couch all day anyways. That shit fucking sucks and it's a punch in the gut for someone like me.
What about you, Dan? You feel like you had that, or do you feel like you dealt with it pretty well?
At the beginning of it, it hit me pretty hard. I've been deployed so many times and spent a year alone, because like I'm not like Mr. Gung Ho Army guy, so I didn't relate to a lot of the people that I worked with. And so, yeah, a lot of times you're just sitting there alone and you're like, shit, because then you have to deal with yourself. And sometimes that's not as fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, when we first got locked down, I got kind of, I was like, fuck, man, this is really hard. And yeah, I broke down, and then I was good. I have seasonal depression and I have chronic depression anyway from a lot of other shit way back. And
You're talking about your time in prison?
yeah. When I got Vatos Locos and all that. But so
Jesus.
so basically, yeah, like down the road, like, you know, it hits me once in a while, and then seasonal depression hits a little bit. It hit not too bad this year. I almost felt like I was more equipped to deal with it than a lot of people, though, because I spent 3 years of my life kind of in this way.
I think it's interesting what you said about being alone with yourself and kind of having to reconcile with yourself. I mean, that's I don't want to say it's deep because
No, it is. I think about this. Think of the person that you hate most in life if you've ever hated somebody. I know that's not a positive thing to think about, but think of someone that you really hated at one time in your life or something like that. Because we've all got it, most of us, unless you're a saint.
I know I've got
Now-
3 of them that I
Right.
would, yeah.
Right. Now imagine having so much time with yourself that the ego sort of goes to sleep and you can look at yourself and look at the things that you've done
Right.
and feel that amount of not good about yourself just based on the total sum of what your life is or has become. And I think that there's a lot of that. Sitting alone in a room could be eventually, if you sit there long enough, could be the person that you hate the most.
Well, so imagine those guys.
Heavy, man.
Well, no, imagine the dudes on solitary confinement in prison and stuff. I mean, you got 19 hours a day where it's just you to like think back on all the shit that you did that got you there. That's gotta be pretty hard.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another episode, obviously.
Well,
but-
hey, man, you know what's really great about being here all the time? My 7 guitars, my girlfriend, my PlayStation.
No, so that's
Like-
that's kind of where I was segueing to. Like, I don't want to dwell on the depressive, but it's
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously something that everybody's dealing with, so we
Yeah.
might as well talk it out.
No, I've had a lot worse than this.
But I would say this year I haven't felt so much depressed and alone. I would say this year I've had. I'm fortunate that I'm in a band with some really good guys, so we've been able to jam, socially distant, obviously, of course, it's safety first. But we've been able to keep going and writing music, and I think the thing that's really gotten to me is I get these times where, and it has been happening more and more lately. And I think it's because I don't know if it's just COVID fatigue or whatever, but I'm getting so man, I want to go to fucking Vegas like crazy.
Mhm.
I want to go and do something regular.
I want to go to a concert of a band I don't even like.
Yeah, I just want. It's not that I'm trying to be like anti safe, but it's just driving me fucking crazy. So I'm really hoping this.
You gotta dig deep, brother. You gotta dig
Right.
deep.
Well, I think we were looking at another 6 months of this, and I don't know if I'll make it.
I went to Vegas over Thanksgiving, and so I had to get permission from my job because it's very locked down. But basically, I went to Vegas, got permission, went to Vegas, and it was weird. It was weird to just be like, there's nobody here.
I can't even imagine.
That sounds like
It
a
was-
zombie movie
It
or
was
something.
bizarre, man. Yeah, like in 28 Days Later or whatever.
Right.
You walk out.
And you know how they would have like which one was London? Was that 28 Days or 28?
I think it was
I
London.
think
yeah.
it was. Yeah.
And it was just like they closed down all these streets in London and they just had like nothing. And you're just like, fuck. Yeah, it was like that in Vegas. I mean, there's a few cars and stuff, but weird.
No, I can imagine.
It's crazy.
You know, but
So I think here's the other thing that's kind of weird to me, and it's this is obviously from the musician side, but hey, you know the podcast is half about music, so I'm gonna say it. I thought that you know I hang around with all these musicians. All my friends are musicians. We're all got some kind of project or one going on. I thought that this would be like a weird, forced, like epiphany for everybody that we were all going to come out of this and like everybody I knew was going to have like a kick-ass album and 25 brand new songs and it hasn't been like that. Everybody I know.
Oh yeah, it has.
Well, it's
I
been
don't
in the
know.
mainstream. We did.
Well,
Ours did.
It was already on the roll though.
It was on.
when
It was rolling
started.
before.
no, it wasn't. Everybody I know who's a musician, so I brought this up with, everybody's like, "Yeah, man, I just can't write. I can't.
So
I can't get in the place where I wanted, like the comfort." And I don't know if that's a COVID thing or if that's just like where you're like, "Hey, I got all this time. I should be writing." So you try and force it, and it doesn't come out.
Normally,
It's
I try and find time to sit down and write and think about things and think about how to word things to come up with some sort of lyrics, look for inspiration or something. I can't tell you how much I've just been sometimes at work, just sit there and look at, my computer screen's there and I'm just like staring off in the wall. I could be writing something right now. I just don't want to.
in the same
just
way, I
didn't want
pick up
to.
the guitar every day, and I'm like, "All right, well, I'm gonna just play." I know there's this thing floating around in the back of my head, and D, I want to this cowboy riff. I want to kind of turn into a metal thing, and I pick up my guitar, and then I'm just like, and I just don't do it. I'm probably the only one who's like still writing a million songs a day is probably Brian.
Yeah.
He's probably just I gotta think of 30,000 riffs since this started. I
His
forgot half of
his
them.
head's under the social cloud of
Right.
Oh, you're talking about Brian in your band.
Biddleman,
Brian
yeah.
Biddleman.
Oh, okay.
He's running 100 million miles an hour, and I think that's what I miss about his youth. For me, is when I was that young, that's what I did. So nothing really affected me. But these things that are happening now, they're going to be in the history book. The things that have happened in my life in the last 40 years are going to be the major things in the history books that shape.
Dude, the things that have happened in the last freaking 12 months. I mean, it's been a doozy.
So going back to people writing music this year, and I feel like there's been a lot of live streams, and like for the musicians out there that just don't have the ability to play live, they're live streaming. But musicians inherently, for the most part, and I'm lumping a lot of people together on this, are the dumbest, technologically defunct people I know. I mean, they're great people, and they're great musicians, but they're not as good at the other stuff. So when you don't have a guy running your sound for you, when you don't have any mics at home, but you're a kick-ass guitar player, or you could be Joe Satriani, but if you don't know how to live stream, you're just like,
So, do you guys remember what was it, March? When did we do the thing at the fairgrounds with Mark and them? And we did
you did a live stream.
The live
Yeah, I
stream.
want to say
concert.
that was maybe April-ish.
April.
April
So
or May, yeah.
in March, it was March because it was Flog and Molly. They were the first ones to do a big thing because it was St. Patrick's Day, right? We were lucky enough to get everyone on board to do our last big show at Partners on St. Patrick's Day. That was fun.
The last rock show.
The last rock show.
Oh yeah,
Shit.
we were talking about that
Yeah, it's the other day.
the other day.
But the online stuff with music, the biggest one was Flog and Molly. And they were like, "Hey, we're going to do an online show." And they did it, and they sounded fantastic. But there was no one in front of them. There was no one reacting to all the body language of the rock and roll stars and
Yeah.
stuff. That stuff gets better with a reaction you feed off of other people.
So
and it just wasn't there. And I looked at it, and the music sounded great, and I was like, "This is pathetic."
So I got a prime example of that. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the band Gwar, but the band Gwar is mainly a bunch of people dressed up in costumes, mutilating humans is kind of their main thing. They're
Did you call Gwar?
Gwar. So they did a live stream, and normally they have people up and they're pushing them into meat grinders, and it's just a bunch of goofy shit,
Yeah.
And they're fake fighting on stage, blood sprays everywhere. Like it's just the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen.
Dan, what if it's real?
What if it is real, but when there's a live stream and there's no crowd,
Right.
I was like, it's just I'm paying to watch a bunch of grown men fight in costumes.
And
And
a bunch of guys in their
I mean,
mom's
the
basement.
the
kinda
music's
thing.
fucking great, but it was a little weird.
I will agree with you. We did that one, that show that you were mentioning, and it was fun to get back out with the guys and play. but it was really awkward trying to perform to a camera.
Yep.
I mean, that was the only thing that you had. You're
And-
looking at a light and
And
Well, you had
staying in your
5?
little box,
Yeah,
staying in your
it
little
was-
box
it was
of
bizarre.
distance.
It was bizarre.
You guys had it a lot better than most people sitting at home too, because you had 5 cameras in a giant room and
Oh, that was-
smoke and lights and
It was so professional.
The production was great. It was just awkward to perform like that.
right. Like, but when you were a kid, you had no problem doing it. When you imagined that's who you were playing in front of, you know what I mean?
Right, right.
You're
Hey,
like,
what-
I'm on a
so I guess
kick-ass
you-
stage with cool lights.
Right, so you get a little spoiled once you
Speak-
played some big gigs.
Speaking of that, what was that company called?
you know what? We've got a rule that we're not going to mention them
We're-
every single podcast.
Oh, okay. Well,
Wasn't that a rule?
Yeah, we've mentioned them the last 2, 3 years.
Oh, okay.
I actually got yelled at for it, so I'm
From them?
no by
Oh, okay.
a certain guy that
Well, if
needs to trim his beard.
if we're not mentioning it, we don't mention it. But guys, you know who you are, and thank
MC
you.
squared.
Thank-
What up?
Thanks for doing that. And I tell you what,
Yeah, no, it was fantastic.
They-
And the production
everything-
was amazing.
and the thing is that they made that business and it was ready to fly.
I know.
And then this hit, and that's so indicative of so many things that have happened because of the
Yeah,
reaction.
you know,
to what
it's
this
weird.
is.
The shitty part of that is that those guys did all that and they created this I don't want to say virtual alternate venue kind of thing. And then they had it set up where there was going to be they were like, "Hey, we figured out how we're going to do this. We're going to do outdoor concerts and we're going to distance people in the venue or the the field or whatever." And they had it all lined out, and Dane's other band Dog was going to play out there. And then the next thing in line is the next level of restriction hit, and now you can't even do that. And then
Well, that's not why we didn't do it. We had one of our guitar players had an issue health wise,
oh, okay,
so we had to pull out from that.
all right. So I'm going to take that last piece back because.
But you're probably more
well,
accurate at this
yeah.
point.
And
I mean,
it's
It's the levels of restriction and who's going to follow those levels of restriction.
and
And
you see it on so many different planes. On like
Right.
this week, I can
Yeah.
go to a restaurant and I can get some food. Then this following week, I can't. I can get takeout, and then the following week, oh well, I can go, but I have to sit in this little outside area. And then no, the following week, I can't even do that. Now I'm at this point where I don't even know what I can do, and it's frustrating as fuck.
I actually don't notice it for once. Like it hasn't really. I thought it would affect me really badly, and it hasn't.
It's because you're the king of the air fryers now, dude.
Yeah. Once I got my air fryer, dude, I was fucking good to go.
is that R2D2 looking thing
Oh
behind
yeah.
you?
Oh yeah.
Damn, that's cool.
So yeah, once
I gotta admit, man, the boy can make some chicken.
So we got to this point where I'm like, I don't really go out anyway. I'm trying to not go out as much as possible if I can
Mhm.
help it. Just that was more of a health reason, had nothing to really do with COVID. And and the only place I really went to was Denny's and Del Taco. And I think at the moment I can still go to Denny's and Del Taco. So like nothing was really different by any means. And you guys you guys good?
Oh my god, that's awesome! Holy shit! So there's this thing with socks. We can
Then I
talk
would
about
just
it
mess
later.
with
Yeah,
these.
but no, I get it. If you go through drive-through, the drive-through isn't affected.
If you guys are listening, Brian just had his foot up on the table, and
And he was pointing to his socks.
like 2 fucking 12-year-olds here, man.
So, Brian is a white sock wearer, and so
Man, I forgot that I was going to change them before I came over here.
just
I was going to put on white
just-
socks for you.
So Brian wears white socks, and white socks to me symbolize being poor because I never even had a pair of socks that matched, let alone a pair of black socks or anything else.
My grandpa said white socks are the best.
So I always had to have
So
white socks with like different colored stripes that went all the way up to my knee, and they were uncomfortable, and they bound up down in my hand-me-down shoes and thrift stores. Dude, I was poor as shit growing up. And then I went in the Navy after I got out of high school, and the only
Lamborghini.
the only thing you were allowed to wear, in fact, you had to wear, was black socks. And I was just like, this works just fine. These socks all look the same, and there's no holes in them. and you know what? They look damn good. I just couldn't stand white socks. So every time I see Brian, so I'm like, dude, we got to get you some black socks,
So
bro.
the truth is, I mean, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but when I wear white socks, it's the only thing. I mean, my legs are just like one shade lighter than the socks. So when I wear black socks, it looks like like two Q-tips walking around. You can't even see my feet.
That's so
man.
great.
Anyway,
Q-tip battle droid.
So what's the deal then? You gonna keep wearing the white socks or?
well, I've got some pretty comfy, warm black socks now, so I think
Like from here on out?
I think I've turned the corner, man.
Here,
Or
it threw me off. I saw him last time.
Or
you were
I'll
here.
just stop wearing. I'll stop washing my white socks, and I'll slowly just
problem
Oh,
solved.
right.
Problem
Then I'll have gray
solved.
socks, and we're good.
They have that clothing dye stuff you can put in your wash
Right.
machine.
All right, so
It's like
listen.
Rit or something.
Let's put a screeching halt to our just enjoyable.
No,
casual
let's keep talking about your socks.
No, let me see how I did that. Segue.
Do you have any happy socks or?
Well, I want. There's a few things I want to talk about, and one we talked about prior to this, but I just wanted to bring it back up with Dave here. The Twisted Tea incident.
Oh yes,
Oh.
yes.
Maybe
Sponsor us.
maybe the greatest thing to happen to the
We
internet.
we,
Oh,
we
man.
basically now once we get sponsored by Twisted Tea, we intend to hit each one of our guests.
Oh,
In
yeah.
the face
No, with it.
wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Those are both video.
You know what? If
podcasts,
they if they were fucking smart, they would make plushies that are Twisted Teas that people could hit each other with.
That's good.
I mean, if they were smart, I'm just saying.
If it was
Well,
better,
with the little Teddy Ruxpin thing with the recorded sound in it, so you could just swing it. Just swinging at somebody. And,
so I think it's probably better for the company than anything else. Oh my God. Just the amount of videos and pictures that people did that had to go buy Twisted Tea to put it in their videos
Yeah,
is
dude.
probably millions of dollars in revenue.
Totally right.
And all the memes they were making of it.
God damn it, Dane. You know it's meme.
I'm sorry.
You
What?
know it's pronounced meme.
Memes.
Oh my God. It's your house. It's your house, brother. It's your life.
Otherwise, you'd have a Twisted Tea up your fucking mouth right now.
No, I just
Damn.
I have watched those videos, dude. Literally, I no bullshit, like 50 times,
Dude.
And I can't stop laughing every single time.
Everybody rejoiced. I think this is one thing that united probably 90% of America in a time where no one can be united under anything. Listen to that white dude say what he was saying over and over and over again to that guy. Everyone was like, oh God.
Well,
Please.
and it was that last part where he sets his
Please.
spears down really hard. He's like clunking, and he goes, "Smack me!"
So one of the things that I instantly thought of, I was just like, oh, he's asking for it. He is asking for it big time. And the way he was looking, he had that like already like I'm about to puke look on his face,
Right.
skinny freaking whatever crackhead
He
look.
had the I'm about to puke face.
And so, but the one thing is, I was just like, oh, when he started dropping the N bomb, I was like, oh,
Oh,
he
yeah.
deserves it.
He's
He's
getting
getting it so hard right now. And then I thought about this. It's like all these little white girls on Facebook media that use the N word in their little posts when they talk about men. They're like, I'm just like,
Twisted Tea, bitch.
hello,
So you want to hear something funny about that? We talked about this last week, and I won't go and tell you. We talked pretty deeply about it because for whatever reason,
How deep?
all the way, Dane. I'm pretty
24-ounce cans about
that's deep.
about 10
So,
inches, about 10 inches tall.
So we were talking about it, and Dane actually read a tweet from the guy who got smacked.
yeah. Oh, he got popular too.
And he's running around, still running his mouth. And
Oh,
I
big time.
can't even fathom that. Your grandma has seen that video by now. Everybody you know has saw you humiliated over and over to music.
It's kind of like the Joe Exotic syndrome, though, where you're like, I just wanted to be famous. I don't care how, and I'm not going to learn anything. I just want to be famous,
Are you
man.
kidding? He learned that. He freaking got his time to shine. He had like 3 boyfriends that were all
But he
straight.
had no way to enjoy it afterwards when he became famous.
That dude.
That's all he ever wanted.
The Twisted Tea guy needs to literally just
Hang out with Joe.
become a Mormon, and just
So,
like
we see
change his whole game.
There was
Can I help
so
you guys
many-
move?
there were so many memes of him,
Memes.
and there's this one where he's sitting there and he's got kind of in a nice tie and shirt and stuff, and it said, when Twisted Tea starts making you act right, you go to church and shit.
Right.
Like it's all like in church and like looking all like.
All right, so
Fantastic.
yeah, not to keep being that guy, but I think that's kind of my role here, so I'm going to do it.
What?
Yeah,
Getting
it's
the
just-
subject to where it
Yeah.
needs to go.
So,
How's our website coming along?
I mean, it's great. I'm just waiting for the artwork from,
Fuck
from
yeah.
the logo guy.
Fuck
We
yeah.
actually have a website.
You got to use this one right here, right?
Yeah. Please
So
don't touch me.
here's the thing. Yeah, no touching, dude. That's part of the.
Sorry.
That's you sign the NDA, okay?
It's like, oh, you have tattoos too. It's like when someone has a baby, they automatically think they can go and touch the baby, the pregnant
I don't
woman's
think
belly.
you're allowed to say tattoo too.
Tattooed too.
I don't think you can say that.
Anyway.
it's a Tom Petty reference, and I
Huh?
think he owns that.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't know that.
What?
So no, where I was going with this is a little bit more on the serious side, but I do want to bring it up. Obviously, everybody's got political views of their own, and we generally avoid them on the podcast. We try to talk music, movies, and
Everything
just-
in between.
And everything in
bullshit.
between.
Yeah.
Yeah, but something pretty profound happened, and I think we should, if nothing else, we should kick it around the table here and just see where everybody's at with that, because today is January 8th.
And I finished my album.
So
Doesn't it feel good?
We're-
Monumental, man.
that's not what I was talking about.
Oh,
That's a
shit.
profound-
Never mind.
But we'll
Sorry,
get,
go.
we'll get back to that.
Go ahead.
But so today's the 8th, and we had this thing a couple days ago on the 6th in the Capitol. I've got so many feelings and so many. I mean, I don't even know what
Yeah.
I think about it, but we should throw it out on the table and so just kick it around for a couple minutes here, and then before we move on to stuff that's not political. And because
Yeah,
I'm so
yeah.
tired, I'm really tired of so much of my life being inundated with this
With politics,
with politics and hate and the division and all that. So let's just throw it out there for a little bit and then move on to something we can laugh about. you know?
One thing I'd like to say is that like politics has become so entrenched in the last 4 years that guys like yourselves that normally are like, yo, dude, I don't want to talk about it. And life could be just fine with that. It's like almost like it's now punching you in the face.
That's true.
And it's at your doorstep. And I feel like that's real shitty. I think that's real shitty that politics has to get that bad.
Do you feel like that the what you just mentioned? You feel like that's something that's come from one, social media, because we're so ingrained on it, and two, the fact that we're all freaking locked up at home. We got nothing better to do than scroll all day.
So Mark Twain said
Oh shit!
I know, right?
It just got deep.
you should
All right,
you
let's
should
go.
lo-
Let's go.
you should love your country all the time and your government when it deserves it. And
Cite your references, please.
you can look it up. It's a real quote.
I'm just
Um,
fucking with you, man.
Yeah, I know. And I know exactly why.
Shout out to Mike Murphy.
But I think the big thing is like what's happening in politics now is the country. So another quote is every country has the country that it deserves. Basically, you have enough people that either for one reason act or don't act, and the people that have the power are able to do or not do that based on the majority of the people that either act or don't act. So in all countries, every country has the country that they deserve. And that's something that I fully believe in. We have the country and the lockdowns and whatever it is we have it because we deserve it. Whether it's because we either accept it or if we don't accept it and we tried and didn't, but our system doesn't allow us to change something or whatever it is, we have the country we deserve based on what we do. It goes along with the quote from the Bible, you will reap what you sow. From my perspective, I'm more of a conservative guy, but I'm really more of a libertarian, let the chips fall where they may kind of a guy more than anything. I think this is what you get when you have so many people upset with something. So they elect a guy who's outside and the system reacts. And so for 4 years, the system, which is good old boy politicians and everything else, will allow certain things in their interest of their political group, of their message. And it's all about power. Everything that has been done is about power. So you have one side basically allowing and saying, "Oh, this certain speech or these actions are fine because it's in the interest of my political party." And when you and you say that this is the best of us and we have to do stuff, but then all of a sudden someone like the president gets in who's totally not part of the system. And then the whole system rebels on him or on just that, and they use their regular stuff. You're a racist, you're this, you're that. And then they no matter what, you're gonna have a big amount of people believe that. And then you have things come up every election cycle just because they want to focus that attention back onto why are you giving us power? And so those things come up, and every 4 years from now on, it's going to be like that.
I think that's what's striking to me is that it's almost split directly down the middle.
Exactly.
We don't.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
not
yeah.
even a majority in one way or the other. It's almost directly down the middle, and there's no. I don't. I'm not even going to use the word bipartisan, although I just did. But there's no gray area. There's left and there's right, and there's no. There's not a whole lot of in between there.
Politics has become a religion, and tribalism.
Oh, that's
is,
a good way to put it. Religion is.
Yeah.
Tribalism
Oh, yeah.
is dividing us, and tribalism is basically you say what we believe and what we are is it outweighs everything, and when that gets to a point, you start dehumanizing the other tribe.
Absolutely.
And that is what is that's been warfare and fighting since the ages. And it's always key and always has to do with psychology, always has to do with power. What tribe gets bigger first, and how can they convince their people to say those people aren't really people because of what they believe, or because they have let men lay with men, or they ingest a certain liquid or herb that you're not supposed to because that's what we say. It's all tribalism, it's all religion, and it always ends bad. And that's why I brought up the Mark Twain quote, "You should love your country all the time and your government when they deserve it." Our government does not deserve it, and our countrymen do. Even the countrymen that think that the government is getting it right now. I don't think any part of the government is right now. I don't think any of it. I don't think the left, I don't think the right, I don't think the president, I don't think the messaging from the incoming president, I don't think any of it's right.
You know what's funny is
Because it still seeks to divide us.
No, I think you make some good points. It just goes to something Dane was talking about, is that you've got this broken system and broken government, and then we are still out there pushing it, our version of that, on everyone else in the
Yeah.
world.
That
You
was
know?
the greatest. It was the greatest post self. And what I loved about it is that your equity of fuck you-ness in that post was awesome.
Okay, so what had happened was I don't generally
What had happened was
so I don't generally post too much political stuff. I'm pretty much middle of the road.
Always.
I like to make fun of both sides because I think they both deserve it. I'm not one way or the other, but I have a couple of core things that I stood behind. And anyway, all three of us are veterans here, and there, when I took an oath, it wasn't to a party; it was
Right.
to my country. And then my country sent me to go push my democracy on a bunch of other countries, and I watched people die for it. And then I watched their people die for it, and I watched our people die for it. And basically this post was about, I don't understand how we can push our democracy and that we're number one, best in the world. You guys need to follow this model when we can't even get the model right.
Right.
And that was the whole thing. And then,
You too can have a 200-year successful experiment.
I know.
Right.
Well, and then what had happened was somebody made it a little bit more about something else, and it pissed me off. And
And then
You-
somebody else made it. So
you
what it
basically
was,
fuck you to everybody.
you-
right?
so I started
Going-
dropping a couple F-bombs. I think there was like 13 by the time I was done.
yeah, and it was
Sorry
right-
about that,
and-
Oli.
No, and it was rightfully so. And I was like, well done. And the reason why I was just like, this guy, Dane, who posted this, he's the only one that is really standing up for what's right. My post was very like fuck all the conspiracy stuff or whatever, and you guys just want to dismiss it. There's proof of certain things happening, and right, not all of it is whatever happening, but there's certain things that there's not everything is above water, and everybody else who's their man one is like everything's fine. You're a conspiracy theorist, f you, and blah blah blah. Dane was like, y'all are missing the fucking point, and not and understand. And the point is that it's not working.
And
It's not working, and we're still in Afghanistan.
So
Trying to tell them how to work it.
So yeah, and it's 17 years later, we're still there. But it made me. I got scared, sad, a bunch of emotions on the 7th because I was like, that Capitol building kind of means something, and those federal buildings kind of mean something. It doesn't really matter which side you're on. They are part of the bigger democracy system that we set up. I mean, it's more of a representation. It's just walls with floors, right?
The library in Alexandria meant something too, and they burned it to the ground.
Yeah, fuck them.
We lost so much.
I don't know what you're talking about.
We lost so much knowledge. We've lost so many times we've gathered knowledge and hallowed places of respect, and they've been burned. They've been burned to the ground by rage and tribalism and us versus them.
And it's not to say that, I don't know. It just feels like we're at a point where we can fix it without having to go down that road, but maybe we can't. I don't know. Brian, you're the one who's brought it up about 3 or 4 times, man. How do you feel about it?
Well, I wonder where we go next. I mean, it feels to me like the hate and the division is something that maybe will heal if we can just turn down the volume a little bit on politics, where it's not something that everyone's talking about every day. And I'll be honest with you, I'm on the opposite side from Dave when it comes to that. I think the current version of what we have in Washington it's a daily shit show. We don't get a break from it ever. It's constantly.
I agree with you. What do you mean? I agree with you.
I think if whoever the new administration coming in can just turn the volume down and not be every single. Of course, the whole Twitter thing and all. That's if we're not being force fed bullshit on a daily basis, I think maybe people will relax a little bit and we'll stop hating each other a little bit. I hope. I don't know where we're going this whole Capitol thing, because I feel like, and this is kind of a side topic, but I feel like mob mentality caused a lot of people to ruin their entire fucking lives. They got caught up in something maybe that they shouldn't have, where they were just like, we're storming the Capitol, and that's pretty much their life.
It threw me off when it was like cut to inside the Capitol, and people were like
taking pictures like they were tourists.
They're like, well,
I was like, what kind of insurrection is this?
They're like, they're like, hey, bub, I'll be honest, we never thought we got this far. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
and yeah, there was one guy up on a statue posing with his flag.
Posing with a buffalo, dude. like he was taking it in, man. He was like, his head was up. He had that spear thing or whatever, and the buffalo thing and everything. I mean, he was really taking it in, like standing with his chest out. He was posing for those pictures, you know?
He'll go down in history.
Okay, no, so obviously,
as long as his prison allows him to see it online, he'll see it.
Obviously, there's some people that were over the top that were they were there specifically for a reason. They were hoping that they would get that opportunity,
right?
But there was probably we're talking about a lot of people who were just like, they were caught up in whatever. They posted so much shit online and they got frenzied about it, and they were. I gotta go and do this. It's the world's gonna fall apart if I don't do this. And they went and they did it, and they went through these doors, and now their lives are essentially gonna be over.
I watched a video right before you guys came over, and this guy is in the airport, super pissed off that he's on a no-fly list now.
Right.
And this lady comes to console him, and she's like, "I'm on it too. They kicked me off too." And I'm like, eh? I don't know what to tell you, man.
The bottom
Greyhound's going to get a boost in sales. What do you want to know?
The bottom line is if you
I hear Carnival is doing trips again.
If you were in there and you're identifiable by a billion facial recognition software packages, or
if you're ever going to wear a mask, that might have been the time.
Yeah. I mean, we had elected representatives who got so caught up into it that they're running around in there. I don't know where it goes. I hope, like I said, I hope turning the volume down on it makes us hate each other less, and we can all find something else to hate in common. Whatever. I don't know how do we heal from that, but
You get Tiger King season 2.
Right.
I think that what you have now is, and if you guys might have not been paying attention to a lot of podcasts, and have you ever heard of the intellectual dark web? It's Joe Rogan and a bunch of other guys from the left and the right, and Ben Shapiro, and a bunch of guys from a very diverse round of ideas. All of those guys have been talking about a lot of stuff, and a lot of them are saying, like, look, the way it's going, you got a few more years. If what comes out of this, if it's more censorship of anyone just because they believe, or which I'm not saying this is going to happen, but if the left, if the Democratic Party behaves like they have before, they see an opportunity to grab power, and they're going to grab it really hard. And so they're going to say that the things that were spoken were hate speech, or they're going to. So if you say anything like that now you're going to be in trouble.
I had a question for you, actually, kind of related to censorship. What in the Constitution, is there a line or anything about freeing the nipple? Because I would love it if we could free the nipple.
No, well, actually, many places in California, you don't have to wear. Women don't have to wear bras. Like they can go.
Fantastic.
They can go topless.
So here's my thing. Like censorship to me can. I think there's a line, but obviously everybody has a different line, right? So some people want to be like, no titties. Some people want to be like, titties are fine. Everybody's got titties, right? Well, I do. And, and it's like,
it's a true story.
Like I can show pictures with my shirt off, but,
this is something I've always said, and it's not just because it's a sexual thing. I think that women should be able to have the same rights as men. If we're going to do it all the way.
Go all the way.
Do it all the way. Like if they want to run around with nothing on, whether they have nice ones or ones that sag way down or whatever, men can do it in all shapes and forms. And it ought to be equal.
It gets to this point where I'm like, where's my bar for censorship? And it's like, obviously there's the big ones like if you have a platform that's going on about maybe there's a pedophile ring or some sort of sex crime ring or whatever's going on, I think there needs to be that kind of censorship. But for the most part, I think most of the things online, because we've gotten to this extreme censorship right now, right? Like our president got locked out of 15 different things, and it was like, I understand what they're trying to do and what they're saying, but it still was just words. At a certain point, it was just words. Yeah. And it's like, where do you draw that line to censor somebody? And being private platforms and having all their list of rules and user agreements when you use it, I get that.
So
totally get that.
So I saw something else today, but so hypocrisy is one of the biggest things because people see rules for thee, but not for me, meaning bureaucrats and governors and politicians and big businesses versus small businesses. So they're a private business. They can do whatever they want, right?
Right. So
why can't small
I'm just trying to
businesses-
promote my OnlyFans. I mean, you know what I mean?
All right,
Come on.
So let's
brother's got to get a side hustle going. You know what I mean? All right, guys. Why don't we take a quick break and we'll come back and we'll talk some 6 feet over talk.
Well, hang on, Dean. Let's yeah. Sorry about that.
You just shit all over my fucking segue.
You're just.
You
like,
can edit it
ahead.
out.
It's almost like you got a script or something. This is unscripted, man. This is raw. This is real pod.
It's all right. I'll just cut all this out.
I'm doing my best stuff.
That's the power of the edit.
I'm doing my best stuff.
All right. Hit me with it, man.
No,
Nice.
I think we should. Like you're right. We need to move on. But I'll throw it out to you guys each so we can all have a last thought on this and move on to something fun. My thought is, and this is important to me, and that's why I interrupted the podcast for it. I know people who hate other people over this last year because of social media and because of their opinions on politics.
Yep. And it's sad.
I can't stomach that. I really know people who will not talk to each other, who were good friends, and they just won't talk to each other anymore because of that. And it almost makes me sick to think about.
Someone who I really respect and love, I'm not going to say his name, he unfriended me and all on Facebook. And it's someone like, yeah, I know we don't think about the same things on anything but maybe guns. But other than that, we don't feel the same in politics about anything. And but I still respect the man. I love his dedication to music, to his family, his wisdom in things. And I really looked up to him and still look up to him. And I don't know if he knows that or not, or if he thinks that it wasn't worth that. And that's really stuff. So my last thing on this is I'll use a Bible verse. Love one another like you love yourself.
Sometimes it's a mental health thing too. If you see a bunch of stuff that just makes you angry all the time and you don't want to see it anymore, I get that too. If that's the case.
Well, like I said, I kind of do, but I just the thought of not liking somebody else because of something that they believe. Maybe because, maybe it pisses me off that they shove it in my face all the time, but the fact that I would not be their friend anymore over that it just makes me sick, and I think we have to get past that as a people.
We had one thing in the last 100 years where the difference of opinion is this: if your opinion means that I can no longer exist, then I have to do something about it. Other than that, you have a different opinion, live your life. That's why this country is so good, is because you're supposed to be able to live your life the way you want to, and it can be different from somebody else right next door to you. And the law, the society, the decency is supposed to be able to keep people from saying, oh, that difference makes you my enemy so much that I'm going to attack you and kill you. Or I can't stand you, or I see you as less than human because of what you believe or what you do or who you sleep with or what you ingest or whatever it is.
That's just fucking terrible behavior.
Absolutely.
We're better than that.
Absolutely. And we all ought to be. We all ought to be. We ought to be able to have our differences of opinion and still come together and make amazing music.
I just unfollowed him. He's still my friend. I just don't have to see what he throws out every day.
It's not you.
At least you know that he still looks up to you,
I'm
right?
so sorry, Dave.
It's not you. This person actually unfriended me.
But no, I mean, that's the thing is like I
It's
definitely first of all, it's social media. It's not real life. So there's that part. And then also like some people I unfollow because all they have to post about is their stupid kids. And I don't want to see their stupid kids.
Million plates of disgusting food. Look what I made. It's so amazing.
Look at my air fryer.
Yeah, I was going to say, wait a second. You're talking to the air fryer king over here, buddy.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And if you don't want to see that shit, hit that unfollow button. Snooze me for 30 days. Whatever you got to do.
I'm not talking about unfollowing and defriending on Facebook. I'm talking about people who literally hate each other.
Right. I know what you mean, man. I'm just trying to lighten it up.
It's just wrong. Anyway, do you have a last thought before we take a break here? Or you?
That was it, man. I honestly, you kind of stepped on my shit earlier, and it,
So we're gonna take a break, and Dana and I are gonna go out in the backyard, and we're gonna throw fists for.
Look, man. Ever since he beat me in the ping pong thing, he's been strutting around. He brings his trophy over just for me to look at for no reason.
Go outside and throw chingados.
All right, we'll be back in a minute with some 6 Feet Over. Hey everyone, Desert Danish here, wanting to thank you for listening to the podcast. We wouldn't be able to do what we do without listeners like you supporting us, and we don't do much advertising, so we rely on people like you to go wherever you listen to podcasts to like, share, and subscribe, and tell a friend about us. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Pandora, Stitcher, or our website at www.desertundergroundpodcast.com. Your continued support means a lot to us. We can't thank you enough for listening. Now, enjoy the rest of the show. Welcome back, everybody. I'm here with Brian Holm and David Patrick, old Davy Patty.
David Patrick is fine.
Davy Patty is the new.
I think we've gone over the falls.
All right, so you guys are in a band. Band called 6 Feet Over.
Spelled out.
SIX.
Yeah.
FOOT.
FEET.
FEET.
OVER.
6 feet over.
That's correct.
Multiple foots.
6 of them.
Indeed.
Six of these feet.
Spelled SIX.
All right. 6 feet over. SIX FEETOVER.
Woo.
Like a pirate. Arr.
Arr.
So I went into Spotify and they have a new song for us. It's called Broken. And
Did you check all the other major streaming services as well?
I didn't at first, but so I opened it up. I typed in Broken 6 feet over, and I see Broken, the song, Broken album 6 feet over, and Sad Bitch Shit playlist.
It's probably one of our saddest songs. It's emotionally appealing.
I feel like that is what you guys should put under the moniker of what your music's about. Sad bitch shit.
No.
Wow, dude.
Ow, that
Damn.
hurts,
I think a
man.
shout out to Lily.
Saddest bitch. We're here for you. Don't
So,
do,
yeah,
don't
any-
do it, man. If you needed someone to say it, don't do it, man.
So anyway, yeah, we put an album out last year, and we've still got a bunch more songs coming for the second album, and this is one that we did as a single. It's it is different for us. You're gonna, if you know our music, the song's very different. I'm glad that we get to play it here on the podcast. It was very cool. I don't want to dig too much into it because I didn't write the lyrics. I'll let Dave and Mike write the lyrics for it.
Mostly it
but-
was Mike. I had a few lines.
Yeah.
And that's your drummer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So the gist of it was that that we all have an event or something that happens in our life at like the absolute rock bottom that we hit, whether that's a relationship or it's a death of a loved one or it's a
it's a loss.
yeah.
It's about dealing with loss.
Yeah, it's just hitting the absolute bottom and then
Finding a way to
realizing
for-
that there's more than that.
For me, it's like you don't dwell in the sadness of the loss of the loved one or whatever it was. To me, it was about, I thought so the great thing about songs for everybody, and I might just be telling everybody basic kindergarten stuff when it comes to music. Songs mean to people what they mean when you hear them, how it makes you feel. To me, this song is about losing somebody and then having the sadness, but then overcoming the sadness and living your best life because that's what that person would have wanted you to do. Sincerely, they wouldn't want you to sit there and wallow in agony and for the rest of your life feel sad for them and neglect your life.
I think Dave put it pretty well. That pretty much covers it. So the song came from that's the inspiration. That inspiration came from our bass player Rick Rick Sword. Shout out, buddy.
What's up, Rick?
It came from him and his family, and he came up with the I think the initial rhythm for it too, which we modified a bit and tweaked as a group, which is as we do. Someone we do that with all of our songs. Someone comes in with a a basic melody or rhythm, and we as a group kind of turn it into something that's like we all rub our own little dirt on it. It turns into a flavorful quesadilla of musical delight.
This one's really great because I think all the standard classical stuff that you have to do to make a song really flow and tell a story is all there. You have the beginning that crescendos to this middle part where in a situation where you lose a loved one, where you just are so angry, you get to a point where you're so sad. I've had a lot of loss here lately. And actually just 2 nights ago, one of my very good friends died. And but you get to a point and you go through those stages of grief, and then you get to that part that's anger. And there's this middle part of the song which illustrates that just perfectly about where you're not angry at the person, you're angry at the situation, you're angry at the mortality of human life. You're angry that it has to end. You're angry that it has to end, and you're faced with that fact really. So it crescendos in the middle part, and then it goes back in, and then it says, we're not broken anymore. We're going to break the chains of the bondage of being sad and being depressed and things like that. So it can branch out to more than just losing someone. It can be triumphing over sadness. So it's
Oh man, the people are dying to hear it right now.
Yeah,
such a
so,
great
so
song.
play it, and we'll talk about it. We'll talk about the afterwards. So we had some interesting recording challenges, and we learned a lot on it. It's something I'd like to talk about.
Cool. All right, here is Broken by 6 Feet Over.
Do you think I'm hiding here? Hollow glances passing through. 'Cause numb is easier than fear of nothing. Filling up the new faces blurring, passing of the street lights, and I know I can't see my only friend. Maybe I can find a reason somewhere inside. If I'm still here when the sun rises again, broken, barely hanging on, and I can tell the streetlights from the sun. Broken, shadows from beyond remind me of a life that is gone. Temper master weight of change. No one ventures into near. Empty pockets wait your fate. That I could follow if the way was clear. Children think that they can change the future. Things don't work out quite the way you planned. Maybe I can find a guide to show me the way. If I'm still here
So, you'll be
So
able to-
wow, yeah, that's a really good fucking song.
It's a ballad. It's definitely more balladish than anything else we've ever done. You know what's crazy? I just talked to my dad today. I think he got real sick. I'm pretty sure he got the big C, and it knocked his dick in the dirt. I think he slept. He said he slept for 3 days straight. And but my dad has always been the guy who's. So my mom and my dad met in college in acting and choir and music and symphony and all that kind of stuff. So my dad. He's got like 7 albums. He's in this group with his wife and partner Denise, and they have this group called Pangea, and they make belly dance type Middle Eastern music. My dad is one of the few American white dudes in America that can play who's a master player of the oud. It's a fretless stringed instrument, almost looks like a lute. But he's one of the few that's considered to be a master at the craft at it. And he had to learn from John Belazikian, who was a guy who directed all the Middle Eastern music for the Sacramento Symphony. And he studied under him and he learned how to do this. Anyway, my dad's got 7 albums, and this song, the first album, he said he was proud of me that, you guys got together and you did the music you love, the whole your metal music's really great, son. It's not my cup of tea, but but I'm real proud of you for doing it. And when he heard this song, he's like, God, Dave, I really like that song you guys just did.
Oh man, Mike rips.
Like,
You're like, damn it, Dad.
Mike can really sing. He can really sing.
No, so on that note, a couple things that are different about this than the first album that we did. The first album we had we had a formula. Everything was, I love it. I love the songs on there. I love the where they all came from, and I love the inspiration behind them all. This one was kind of like I said, we kind of came at it from a predetermined direction as opposed to the other ones.
A predetermined what? Sorry.
Direction.
Oh,
what did you think?
I heard something completely different.
It was an erection, man.
I don't always predetermine mine. But all right, whatever. Everyone's different.
The first one we we kind of just wrote the songs, and as we were jamming, we were writing what they were going to be. This one we came out with like, it's going to be, this is what I want it to be about, and this is what here's the kind of the rhythm that I want to do.
It came down to a feeling, really.
Yeah,
And
it
was all
through.
Rick and his brother-in-law,
Mm-hmm.
and how they were close and like
And Rick's your bass player.
Right.
and how it affected him and the family.
Yeah.
And
But what we did on this one that was different. The first album we did it. Or even our recording process was pretty. Obviously, it was growing pains being your first album, but it was pretty straightforward, and we did everything the same way. When we did this song, and this is the first of a whole slew of others that we're going to do. It was a different direction, obviously different producer, obviously, but we approached it differently.
Who was the producer on this one?
Eric Nelson.
Eric Nelson.
Yeah.
What up, Eric?
Yeah.
what up,
Shout out,
Eric?
Eric.
What up, Biggie?
I played shows with that guy.
Yeah, he's a good dude. So when we did this one, we did it the way we tried to do it the way that we did the album, and we just kind of straightforward. We're going to run guitar tracks, we're going to do a drum track, we're going to do a bass track, and we're going to do vocal tracks. When we did that, and it came out, we had version 1, and we were like, there's parts we need to change. What we ended up doing is changing around the entire structure of the song. I think originally Dave was doing the verses and Mike was doing the pre-choruses, and it just there was a disconnect there. It didn't sound right. So we modified how we were doing that, and I think we went back in the studio like 3 times on vocals, and we ended up swapping it around to where Mike was carrying the first parts and Dave was doing the pre-chorus, and they kind of blended them.
And that took a while too, because
did, yeah.
Mike had to sing differently than he ever sang before.
No, yeah, and that's where I was going with that. So that was a big thing. Is we as a metal band, you go into that, and our our genre is, hey man, sing it rough, make it sound,
Make it sound badass.
yeah. So we tried
Auto
it.
tune the shit out of it.
we tried it. We tried it, and it didn't sound right. It sounded, like
Sound like T-Pain.
so yeah. So we did it when we went back. These guys both they were actually almost operatic a little bit in the way that they sang the verses, and it was funny to me because Dave originally had his voice sounding rough, and Mike was doing like the super clean, and we ended up redoing it and replacing what parts of the song they were singing. Mike threw a little bit of gravel on his vocals and a little more flow to his vocal lines. And then Dave went really clean on the pre-choruses on that. That's not David Olson that you hear in 6 Feet Over usually. He's usually ripping it out. And what you got on this was a really, really clean vocal line from Dave, which for us, once we heard it, we were like, wow, that's exactly what this song needed. So
This is a song that I've listened to probably about 35, 40 times now, and I still get, just talking about it, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. It's really good. It's that feel.
my nipples are hard.
It's
You're excited. Feel these nipples.
goosebumps and hard nipples, baby.
So was Mike like, how do I do the grovelly voice? And you're like, man, look, just do what Tom Waits does. Just smoke a bunch, drink whiskey, drink coffee that's strong enough to beat the shit out of your.
It was kind
apple
of
pie.
funny because watching these guys do it. I mean, I need to let Dave talk.
So,
but Mike was he had to like try to. He had to force it.
So I'm not going to say that anyone gave him what he needed to find out to do it. He found out. He found what he needed to do. Everyone suggests like, no, do it like this. That's in our band. We have this joke about like telling the drummer, hey, can you do it like this? And it's like, oh, we all like, oh no, let's make it sound like this. It's like, and the drummer's like, come on, guys.
it's me, and I'm always going, dude, make it like.
If we could make it sound like a 1970s porn intro, that'd be great. That'd be a great intro. But and so Mike was like, or we could do, you could speak to me in a language I understand, and he'd play something. He goes, that's a 2/4 backbeat with a something something something. And so I was like, hey Mike, can you hit it with that 2/4 backbeat with the super low bass off thing?
Drop a little of that Fresh Prince on there too, would you mind?
So what I told him is to don't perform the song like you're trying to like put on a mask and perform it. Get your voice loose, like sing a whole bunch, sing as hard as you can for a little bit, get your voice loose up, and then just sing like you would be singing it to yourself, or sing like you would just let it flow. Relax your voice.
Just grip it and rip it, brother.
Just more relaxed. So, but Mike, no matter what it was, Mike found it, because I think when he finally recorded it, that the one that they actually used, he recorded
Please
it.
don't touch my mic.
Sorry. Can I touch your table? I think he recorded it with no one, that version that they took, he recorded that part with no one around. So,
Well, it's a fantastic song, man. Like you guys really hit the nail on the head and did something completely different from what I expected. And it's badass. Like it's
Definitely a big departure for us. That's not our normal.
Yeah, you guys are heading over to Skid Row
Nelson Brothers.
a little bit. I heard a little 18 in Life in there.
We didn't have any way to get on the sad bitch playlist, so we had to come up with something.
Oh, well, you made it, buddy. You are there now. Okay, so we can't let Oli leave without the famous Brian Holm question.
Yeah, so Dave, you've been through this before, so I'm assuming that you practiced and you're well prepared for this.
Oh no, I can't even remember. Oh God.
This is like his third time too.
Yeah, this is your third time on the podcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
which says a lot about you.
It does. We're not exactly sure what, but it does.
You have nothing better to do.
So we have this thing. It's a tradition now, and we've done it. We've forced everyone, even Wes, who had no fucking idea who the guy was. The Walken of the week. You have to give us a Christopher Walken impression.
I don't think we ever did this before.
No, we did.
With me.
Well, I've got recordings.
I don't know if we have with Oli or Davy Patty.
Let me.
Is it better if we don't look
harness,
at you?
No, let me harness my walking.
Yeah, get in your place, man.
Guys, I gotta tell you, I'm here to get my pinky ring back. But what I could really use is some more cowbell. I don't know.
All right.
all right.
I
That's
can't-
good. That's good, man.
Fellas walking.
I can't. No,
It's
that's.
Walking, you should hear
so-
mine. It's horrible.
Yeah, dude, it is, man. That
I
was
can
a
usually hit an impression pretty good, but I cannot do the walking.
I'm gonna try and practice that. See if I can do it.
All right,
Well,
so
this is
yeah,
probably your last time on here, so I wouldn't worry about it.
No, now I just want to be able to do it. So next time I see you, I just be like, "Hey, you Dane."
so yeah, that's us. Our band. We're keeping ourselves busy in the quarantine, working on that, which is great. It's keeping me sane. If I didn't have this band, I'd be going nuts. And speaking of that, we need to get back to jam.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about one real quick thing is that we're gonna have a new place. One of our band members is constructing it as we speak, and I went and saw it today, and it is gonna be awesome. It's gonna be really cool. It's insulated. It's
Yeah, Sweet D is no more.
yeah, Sweet D is done.
Can no longer.
Too
Cool.
expensive. Too expensive, really.
So yeah, on that, it's great. I can't wait. I'm excited. So but let's talk about Dane's album real quick because it just
looks
wrapped.
like we are out of time, sir. We'll have to hit it up next time.
Doing, doing, doing,
We'll have to hit it up next time. But I have an album coming out. I mention it all the time. It's called The Desert Never Sleeps. March 20th is the release date. So we got a little time to talk about it before it comes out.
Sweet.
Fantastic. We're gonna play a song.
happy
We're
for
gonna tack a song on from now on the end of this, right?
No, I'll play it next time because I want to talk about it, man. I want to build it up.
Oh, so it's all about you next time.
Well, at least
All
someone
right.
could do the Fozzie impression.
All right, thanks, Dane.
Hey, thanks for having us, bud. I'm so glad you're back up and rolling. This is a
Oh,
great platform, bro.
thank you. You know, we really do try hard.
We-
we really do.
The proverbial we.
No, Brian. You know, without the godly like radio voice that this guy has, I don't think I could make it.
Thank you, Dane.
Because holy shit.
Raw.
You know, I do weather reports when I'm on the
Yeah,
podcast.
he does throw me off course a lot when I'm like really trying to go on a tangent because it's really awesome and he always kind of brings it back and he's
Yeah.
like, no, let's just be safe. Thanks, Dad. No, Brian, you are the backbone of this entire podcast, and I appreciate you being here, man.
All right, buddy.
All right, so thank you everybody for listening. You can find us on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify. Make sure you let your friends know. Hit that subscribe button. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Like we all rub our own little dirt on it. It turns into, a flavorful quesadilla of musical delight.